19-year-old high school junior, Ralph Yarl, is recovering at home after Andrew Lester shot the child at point-blank range through Lester's front door after Ralph mistakenly rang the doorbell of the wrong house to pick up his younger twin brothers.
So he shot through the screen door, and then he opened it after the young man was down, and then shot again. So much for fear. It's hard to have words for this. It does have a racial aspect to it, so we've got that to deal with. But we're talking about someone getting shot for ringing the doorbell and being the wrong color when you rang it. I struggle for words. I struggle with how the family must be feeling. The country is certainly rallying around him. His school is rallying around him. But I think that this is a deeper issue. And as we have this conversation, I'm going to come right back to Fox News, because I believe that Fox News drives a narrative that keeps people so in fear about people who are other, people who are of color, that they feel like their only recourse when they see a Black person is to shoot them. It is so racist that I look at it and my eyes are like boggled to think, holy crap, if I were looking at this, I'd be scared of me too. So I'm just saying it's really mind-boggling. And so now we have these guns that we think it's okay for people to have, because now you don't need a permit to carry. We've got stand your ground. We got all of these things that simply say that it is okay to not have a conversation, but just to come out blazing your gun and shooting people. And now we have a 16-year-old who is recovering at home, who is a fantastic student, recovering because an old white man, thought that he was at risk, that he was in danger because a young Black man rang his doorbell.
Because that's what people do. That's what people do. When they're going to come to your house to cause you harm, they ring the bell first.
There's the stand your ground laws are an abomination. They are absolutely pushed by the gun industry to encourage people to use the product more. That law in Missouri says that a person shall not use deadly force upon another person unless he or she reasonably believes that such deadly force is necessary. All that this innocent kid goes to the wrong house, rings the doorbell, old Mr. Haney has to get out of bed, and immediately he went to the door with the gun. And all he's going to have to do is convince a jury that he reasonably believed that such deadly force is necessary. Now, that means that his attorneys could bring up, look what's been going on in the country right now. Look at the BLM people. Look at the George Floyd protests. Now, this guy sees a young Black person at his door. So, of course, he felt it was necessary for him to protect himself. How can he not? You get enough idiots in Missouri to kind of nod their heads up and down, and Mr. Haney gets to roam free. This guy's a racist pig. And his mugshot makes him look like a sad old man. And the arguments, I did peruse the Fox News comments section on this story. And a lot of people are saying, well, it's a double tragedy, not just this young boy who got shot, but this poor man who felt threatened and did what he had to do. And now he is being prosecuted. He is being persecuted. He's a victim too. That's the argument that they'll put forth, and people will go for it.
So here's why that argument is no good. We talk about responsible people having guns, people who just have just a little bit of good sense. So, Mr. Haney, what you do is you dial 911. That's what you do. Or you know what else you do, Mr. Haney? You don't open the door, Mr. Haney. And so there are so many other things you can do. So if anything, what this says to me is, okay, folks, NRA, let's go back and take a look at who you give guns to. If you think it's not okay for someone to be 80 years old and run for president, And I want all the 80-year-old Mr. Haney's to come and turn their guns in, because clearly they don't know what to do with them. So I just think that's not going to make any sense, because there were too many other options for Mr. Haney. I mean, what if I had knocked on the door? What if my car broke down and I needed to knock on the door? And I just want to take this a step further. I was on my way home from Maryland 3 weeks ago. I was sitting at a restaurant where we did pickup. A white man came out, opened my car door, and was about to get in. And then he says, "Oh, my bad," as his wife yells at him. And I just said, and I just chuckled and laughed. Now, if I had been Peyton Washington a few days ago, you know what would have happened? Somebody else would have gotten out of the car and shot me. We've all pulled on the wrong car door. I have. We've all knocked on the wrong door, right? We've all done all of these kinds of things. And now if you step on somebody's foot, we've got concealed carry laws that they won't even have a conversation with me. They'll just turn around and shoot me. So I'm just saying, if at some point we don't discover that while 70% of people say there should be gun legislation, when it's time to vote, they don't vote for gun legislation. Yeah. So what is it going to take for the folks who have good common sense to believe that we ought to do something different about our gun laws to actually put their money where the vote is?
It's going to take, nobody wants to hear this. I'll stick with it. It's going to take showing the photos of these mutilated children with half their heads blown off, lying in the playground, lying in their classroom. I am tired of hearing about we lost 18 children. We didn't lose them. They're dead. They're lying right there. And we as a society are responsible for that.
So I'll tell you two things that particularly bother me. Kristi Noem, who is the governor of South Dakota. And so she was at the NRA, and I happened to see this clip where she talks about her 2-year-old granddaughter having a gun already. So these are the people who are running the country. I'm just saying. So these are the people. I'm not kidding. Honestly, that's what she said. That's what she talks about.
I'm out of here. I can't. Yeah. I'm done. Mary, let's go. I can't hear it.
There is no question as to why we get up every day and we fight. We get up every day and we fight for our values. Little Miss Addie, who is almost 2, and Branch, who's just a few months old, they have brought us so much joy. They've brought us purpose. Now Addie, who, soon will need them, I want to reassure you, she already has a shotgun and she already has a rifle. And she's got a little pony named Sparkles too, so the girl is set up.
There was no reason for these old white guys to feel threatened. None. So what are they really afraid of?
They're not afraid. They hate Black people. They see no redeeming qualities in Black people. They see no redeeming qualities in Black youth. They have ceased to look at them as functioning human beings with hearts and minds and consciences, because they have been fed an unlimited menu of hatred while they sit comfortably on their couch, eating whatever it is they eat and filling their head with resentments.
But then we are not willing to admit that racism exists in this country. And I'll give you one last point. Black Republicans do not help.
Tim Scott, Black Republican running for president. America does not have a problem with race. How can I possibly take that man seriously? And I know he'll never come to Oregon and say that, but if he does, I'll have a few choice words for him.
Hear me clearly. America is not a racist country.
All it does is create the space for them to say, oh, I'm really not racist. And we're not racist because do you see that Black Republican we have over there? Do you see those people who vote Republican? When at the end of the day, let me just say this again. I am not saying that every white person is racist. And a white person doesn't have to be racist or feel bad because they admit that some of the folks in their families and in their communities are racist. I'm just asking you not to vote with them. What I would submit to Tim Scott is to take off his suit and drive down the highway, even in South Carolina, and just speed. And don't stop immediately because something is happening and you didn't see him. And then after he's done with that event, go to Missouri and knock on somebody's door, the wrong door, and see what happens. And if he comes back successfully through those things, then I'll say that we don't have a race problem.
Stand your ground. He looked threatening to me and I was scared. And of course, he had expired tags, so most likely the car was stolen, and I had to kill him. Sorry, Tim.
You can't just, drive a BMW in South Carolina. So drive a BMW in South Carolina and go to one of those neighborhoods that folks say we don't go there after dark, and get pulled over. And again, most importantly, go to Kansas City, Missouri, and just go to any door. You gave us the street already, and knock on it, at about 11 o'clock, and let's see what happens.